Welcome to the Money Hour with Tina Mitchell. Tina Mitchell, MLO 145420, is a licensed loan originator with Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC. The views expressed by the speakers on the following program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC, nor are they necessarily endorsed by Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC. Now, in the studio, local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome to the Money Hour at 11:50 a.m. KKNW, the Saturday, December 2nd show. I am your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell. My goal is to keep you up to date on the latest news and trends in our local market. Keep me tuned in, and I will keep you informed. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast, but I'm here to answer any questions or connect you with the guests that I have in the studio today. Please call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And the lineup for today's show: Rosemary West with Avenue Properties, luxury real estate current and forecast for 2018. So very excited to hear what's going on in the real estate market. Also, Leslie McFadden with Real Living Northwest Realtors. Don't miss the critical points when selling your house, is the conversation I'll have with Leslie today. And last guest in studio, Mason Mackey with Pacific Northwest Insurance, the benefits of having an independent insurance agent. Great information and great guest in studio. For more information on any topics or topics that you'd like to hear on future shows, please feel free to call the show at 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. And as always, let's start out the show today with a little money chat.
Money.
House Republican leaders in their tax bill called the Tax Cuts and Job Act. Here's how the new tax bill is currently proposed. It's suspected to impact your taxes. Now, these are just ideas being kicked around in Congress, but until it's a done deal, we don't know what's going to happen. Common question is the effective date. Most likely it will not be until 2018 taxes. So yes, I think we're good for 2017 if some of these things you are not favorable to. So proposed tax rates. The bill proposes for 4 tax rates, not 3 as been anticipated. So 12%, 25%, 35%, and 39.6, which will be the index for inflation. 12%, 0 to 45,000 for individuals, 90,000 for married taxpayers. 25%, 45,000, $1 up to 200,000 for individuals, and 260,000 for married taxpayers. 35% tax bracket, 200,000, $1 up to 500,000 for individuals, and $1 million for married taxpayers. And then the highest tax bracket, 39.6, 500,000, $1 plus for individuals, $1 million, $1 for married taxpayers. Now, we currently have 7 tax brackets: 10, 15, 25, 28, 33, 35, and 39.6%. So that would be the difference. Now, standard deduction. Standard deduction would double to $12,000 for individuals, $18,300 for head of household, and $24,400 for married couples. Additional standard deduction and personal exemptions, those would be consolidated into the larger standard deduction and will disappear. Now, what about selling your home and the tax benefit? Depending on how long you plan on staying, the 2 of 5 rule that excluded up to $250,000, $500,000 for married taxpayers in capital gains from the sale of your home would change to a 5/8. That means that you must have owned and resided in the house for at least 5 years and the last 8 years in order to qualify for the exclusion. Additionally, the rule would limit the use of exclusion to 1 sale every 5 years instead of the 1 sale every 2 years. Now, what about the state and local income tax deductions? This would be gone. The proposal would eliminate the state and local income tax deduction. Now, what about mortgage interest rate deduction? This is my arena, and for the arena of the real estate professionals that I have here, I thought it was going to be a little bit worse than what it was. So the current mortgages could be grandfathered in. So not so bad there. The question would be, how would that affect the inventory with people that are current tax deduction, interest write-off deduction where they're currently at, which is a maximum of $1 million? Are they going to be excited to sell their home? So that would be the question there, and how that's going to affect our inventory. Meaning that they would be affected for the mortgages, houses in the new would be capped at $500,000. So what it looks like might happen if this passes is there'll still be an interest deduction, but it'll be capped at $500,000 instead of the current being capped at $1 million. Property tax deduction. It should remain in place, but capped at $10,000 under the proposal. This was originally stated at the elimination, but back after the Republicans of high tax states made some noise and voted against the budget proposal. So we'll see what happens there. Charitable donation deduction, because this is my first thing. What are charitable donations going to go away? What are going to happen to all of our nonprofit organizations? And I'm really passionate about the homeless nonprofit. Well, nothing's going to change there. It would remain in place is what they're saying. So there'll also be a bonus. The mileage rate for charity will finally be indexed for inflation. It's been 14 cents per mile since Clinton era. Other deductions, gone. The deductions for medical expenses have been eliminated, as for the deductions of student loan interest, tax preparation expenses, moving expenses, unreimbursed employee expenses, and alimony, done. What about child tax credit? The child tax credit would increase to $1,600 per child under 17, with an additional $300 credit for each parent as part of the consolidation family tax credit. The credit is currently at $1,000 and is refundable. What about adoption tax credit? This would disappear. Other credits that disappear, including the lifetime learning credit, work opportunity credit, and the employer-provided child care credit, would be gone. Earned income tax credit, EITC. This would remain. 401k plan, what about that? There would be no changes to the tax brackets, breaks for the retirement accounts, including 401k and IRAs. Do you still have to pay Obama individual mandate? You would. It'd be in play. There are no specific health care related tax moves beyond yanking the medical extension expenses deductions in the bill. Alternative minimum tax, AMT. The AMT would be eliminated under the proposal. The AMT is secondary tax put in place from the 1960s to prevent the wealthy from artificially reducing their tax bill through the use of tax preference items. What about small business tax relief? It depends on the nature of the business. Under the proposal, businesses conducted on sole proprietor, partnerships, and S-corps would be taxed at the rate of 25%. However, businesses that offer professional services like doctors, lawyers, accountant, designers, and consultants would qualify for the reduced rate. Other business owners can choose to categorize 70% of their income as wages and pay the individual tax rate, and 30% as the business income, taxable at 25%, or fix the ratio of wage income to business income based on a capital investment. So some options there. What about corporate tax relief? Corporations do not pass through their income pay tax on profits at the corporate level. The bill lowers the corporate tax to 20%. Municipal corporations, some companies like Apple and stockpiling assets overseeing and bringing the funds over to the U.S. would be taxable. The bill would impose one-time tax on 12% accumulated offshore earnings. And then federal estate tax, the exemption amount with a double to $11 million per person. Currently, the federal estate is imposed on estates which exceed $5.4 million. Or nearly $11 million per couple. The federal estates tax will completely disappear after 2024. The setup and basis will remain in place. So again, these are just ideas being kicked around in Congress, but we'll have to wait and see. Really the idea behind this, you're going to feel good about some of it, not feel good about some of it, but the idea behind it and the why is to really strengthen our economy. So if that does get accomplished, it is all a good thing. If not, I'll have to bring that up on another Money Chat. So coming up next in the Money Hour, what is real estate in the current and forecast for 2018? Rosemary West with Avenue Properties, luxury real estate right here in 1150 AM KKNW after the short break.
Do you need diversity in your investment portfolio? Real estate can be a very solid investment, and Seattle is one of the strongest real estate markets in the country. The secret to making wise decisions is having a proven real estate investment expert by your side. Holly Furin of City Closers Real Estate is no ordinary real estate broker. She has more than 2 decades of real estate experience with sales and property management. She can help you navigate the booming Seattle real estate market to find golden properties, houses, or condos that are best suited to lease as a yearly residence or vacation rental. Whether you want a short-term investment or one that generates income for years, Holly Furin can help you find the best property and negotiate the purchase. Then she'll market your home to prospective renters and screen tenant applications. By standing between you and the tenant, emotion is removed from the equation. You're not looking for a new best friend. You're looking for someone who will pay rent on time, maintain the property, and be a respectful neighbor. During her 25 years as a property manager, Holly Furin has never evicted one of her pre-screened renters. Her tenants' rent checks have never gone more than 30 days past due. A good real estate investment provides monthly cash income while steadily building equity that you can cash in when you sell or use as a home equity line of credit. During your free consultation with City Closers Real Estate, Holly will discuss your immediate needs and long-term goals. She will deliver a comprehensive real estate investment plan custom tailored to work for you.
I'm Holly Farron with City Closers Real Estate. If you're interested in investing in Seattle area real estate, please call me today at 206-766-8400. That's 206-766-8400. Sign up for my newsletter at hollyferrin.com.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to The Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here on 1150 AM KKNW, the December 2nd show. I am committed to providing you knowledge needed to be successful in every area regarding your finances. Knowledge is power, and that's what the show is all about and what you'll receive from listening today. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast, but you can call the show at 1-855-400-1150 or just go online to themoneyhour.com. And in studio right now, Rosemary West with Avenue Properties Luxury Real Estate. And today we're going to be discussing real estate in the current environment and forecast for 2018. Rosemary, thank you so much for coming back into studio. Always a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for inviting me.
And a little bit about Rosemary. Rosemary West has over 20 years experience in the local real estate market. She attributes her success to her extensive marketing and sales experience, advertising, and public relations that have formed the foundation of her large local network. And really excited, Rosemary, to hear your take on what's happening today in the real estate market and what's coming up for 2018. Always exciting stuff to look forward to, always some things to be a little nervous about. So we'll kind of talk about all of that today. So what are you predicting for, I know it's a broad question, what are you predicting for the real estate market in 2018?
We read a lot of, in the real estate industry, we read one of the big brochures that seems to, and articles that seem to affect us, is Inman Connect. We read a lot of those particular reports. There's an emerging trends in real estate report that favors Seattle, the Emerald City. Ranked it number 1. It moved on from number 4. A lot of it's attributed, of course, to the technology industry, plays the leading role, the educated workforce, the abundance of capital that we have in the area. Where they forecast the projection to be of growth and significance is in all property types, including commercial, industrial, and residential and apartment buildings. Land development, of course, is still an issue that we don't have a whole lot of land to deal with. So builders, developers, anything that comes up, there's multiple offers for, and there's very rarity of it. Single-family housing is going to see probably the most significant, and condominiums the most significant growth.
Okay, so let's go into that. So with the current inventory shortages that we're having with single-family homes and condos, what do you think is going to happen with that, Rosemary?
Depending on what happens with our tax situation, that's going to affect a lot. When we talk about the $500,000 limit, cap. That makes a difference in our area.
And the possible grandfathered in for the $1 million.
That would actually help because most of our properties are over $1 million in our area.
Okay.
So if we have a lot of people that have, let's say,
but
$1 million loan.
But they would go from a cap of $1 million now down to a cap of $500,000.
Correct.
Yes.
Which would make a difference. Okay. What are we going to see happen with the inventory in that respect? We don't know yet. We don't know how many people are going to decide, okay, we have to. And, of course, with the lack of deductions in some areas and how it will affect them.
Yep.
That's a lot we don't know about yet.
Yeah. So take that off the table. What are other things that you think are going to affect the inventory, help or not, for 2018?
Well, we have about 1,000 people coming in weekly into the King County area.
Crazy.
The Seattle metro area. And most of those people are educated, coming in to work for Amazon, Facebook, Twitter, Expedia, Microsoft. we have so much going on with growth of industry right now and technology. Amazon is doing incredible research and development, and they have a new warehouse that is 100,000 square feet dealing with organically grown vegetables and fruits, and hopefully be able to deliver that within an hour of your calling for those products.
Wow.
Giving the grocery stores and our local industries a run for their money.
Well, we were just
essentially.
talking about that before we came into studio today about, not even ringing up your groceries. Amazon's got their grocery store. You just head out and it figures out what you owe. I mean, it's just craziness.
And
Yeah.
that's a factor. Our world is changing and evolving so fast.
Yeah.
That our technology is going to be the leader in what and dictates what
Of
will
course.
happen with our industry.
Yeah, it makes sense. So, Rosemary, what about the home and property values increase year over year?
This year, we saw home values in the Seattle area go up about 11.7% year over year, and the inventory has been down 23.6%.
Wow.
Year over year. And then you look at the rental situation, and there's some articles that have mentioned that rents have actually become a little bit more larger in inventory. But on the other hand, they've gone up 6% in the Seattle metro area this year over year.
Okay.
So you're still looking at it being advantageous to purchase a home, purchase a condominium,
Yep.
and at least to try to harness those expenses, monthly expenses, just to live.
Yes, I totally, regardless of, what happens with the interest credit, I'm a homeowner believer. And, so that's a whole nother show. What about buyers right now with the holidays going on and everything? Is it a great option? Is it a good time for buyers to come into the market?
It actually is a great time because you have a lot of people that are taking a little bit of a break
Yes.
because of the holidays
Yep.
and family coming into town or leaving town.
Yes.
It is a perfect time if you're a serious buyer to go out and try to pick up a property, a condo, that maybe usually there's like 3 or 4,
Yes.
10 offers on that
20.
property. Now it's the time
3,
to
4,
go
10,
and see
20,
if you can
yes.
pick up a bargain. The
Yeah.
other thing is it's really important to find a real estate agent that knows the market. And the reason for that is, yes, you can scour the Redfin apps and the Zillow apps and all the apps that are out there and Realtor.com. But bottom line is with a real estate agent at your fingertips, they can help guide you on what may be a good bargain, what's been out on the market for a long period
Yes.
of time, what may be coming up that is not apparent on an app.
Yes.
So it is really important to seek out if you're serious about buying at this time. It's important to seek out and find someone that's experienced and
It's critically
move
important.
forward.
I mean, that's what the show is all about. It's about finding the best of the best experts in all areas. Regardless of what happens with technology, you have to have that expert that understands everything that's happening. So important. Also, right now, Rosemary, somebody's listing their home on the holidays. They're pretty desperate to sell, right? So, I mean, you've got that balance of it's going to be less inventory, but you're not going to have the competition. Plus, the sellers that are selling, they need to sell. So it seems like whether or not you find the home that you want, then it's not a good time. But get out there and look. And if you do find it, it's the best time. It could be the best time, right?
True.
Yeah.
True. And we still have, as I mentioned, if you're looking in Bellevue, for example, there's only 12 condominiums even to choose from.
Jeez.
And that's in the West Bellevue communities, and it's up to $5 million to kind of give you an idea of what's going on there. Homes in West Bellevue communities, we have one that's listed at $28 million. It's a fabulous piece of property. It's a large piece of property on Overlake.
I would hope so at $25 million.
It's a $28 million.
Oh, $28 million. Oh, my.
It's a
What's
bargain.
an extra $3 million?
But there are only 59 homes in West Bellevue communities to choose from,
Wow.
which makes it still very tight if you want to come into the market.
Yeah.
But there are other areas to look at as well that are an easy commute. East Bellevue communities, South Bellevue communities, they have more inventory to consider. Redmond.
Newcastle. I live in Newcastle. I mean, you're not that far from Bellevue. It's a great, and we've got some homes for sale in our cul-de-sac. So let's move on to the Seattle Bellevue Metro emerging trends in real estate. What's happening there?
Well, they consider us the number one spot for growth and the hottest real estate market in the nation. we have been considered for forecast of growth, the positive outlook. It's just going to continue to grow with all the new building, construction, jobs coming into the area. It's just a massive amount of growth in a very small area.
Yeah.
Our traffic patterns have become more intense, and the new mayor of Seattle has indicated that for the next 4 years, it's going to be even more painful. So they're trying to encourage mass transit, which means there's going to be more of a concentration in certain areas to be able to commute to work if they work in downtown Seattle or downtown Bellevue or Redmond.
Okay. So what else are we in store for in the housing market for this next year?
Well, a lot of it has to do with, as you well know, the interest rates, what's going to inventory.
Every year we say the same thing. They got to go up, but every year nothing happens.
Buying power, of course, depending on whether people are, they're increasing their salaries or they're getting raises. Are they moving in for more minimum wage type of jobs, or are they moving in more for technology jobs? That's going to make all the difference.
Got it.
And we don't know for certain what's going to happen, but the forecast and all the economists are saying, yes, it's going to be a stronger year.
Yep. So business growth. What are you seeing for business growth in the East Side and Seattle area?
Well, Microsoft just announced Tuesday that they are going to increase 18 new. They're going to build 18 new buildings and tear down 12 of their current buildings in their East campus. It's going to be called Microsoft Redmond Campus of the Future. It will create about 2,500 jobs for construction purposes. It's going to be a pedestrian-friendly cycle, walkability, restaurants, shops. Wow. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be a city within a city. And they're going to develop both on the east side and the west side of 520. And the new rail system,
so they just stay right there in their little area, and they've got everything in their neighborhood.
And they've taken on the commitment to actually invest more into our Redmond area. And unlike, for example, where you have Amazon looking at a headquarters somewhere else, they are actually focusing and growing the headquarters in Redmond. Yeah.
Isn't it interesting just to really be able to look into the future and see all of the trends and things that are going to change? I mean, we can look back in our past and see how much changes and things that you would never imagine, would happen. And so it's kind of exciting. I mean, we're on a journey every year. You don't know what's going to happen, but we've got a lot of exciting things. Also, there'll be some things that'll bring some challenges. So, what can we make out of that? Wrapping up my time with you, Rosemary, what would be your call to action for my buyers out there listening today?
Well, definitely give us a call.
Yes.
This is the
time. That's a great call to action.
Let's start looking for properties if you're interested in moving. If you're interested in listing your property, give us a call as well. We'd love to place that property on the market, especially right now. I'm a full-time agent, so I would love to work for you during the holidays. I'm here. I'm not taking a holiday, and certainly would love to help any way I may in the next move and next chapter of someone's life.
Wonderful. Well, Rosemary, thank you so much for coming back in studio. It's always a pleasure to have you here. And you can call the show to get connected with Rosemary if you'd like to, 1-855-400-1150, or go online to themoneyhour.com. So thank you, Rosemary. Appreciate it. Coming up next in the Money Hour, don't miss the critical points when selling your house. I have Leslie McFadden with Real Living Northwest Realtors right here on 1150 AM KKNW after this short break.
Do you have a message or mission that you want to share with the world, but you just don't know how to get it on a global scale? If so, podcasting could be the perfect solution for you. Podcasting can help you easily establish yourself as an expert in your field, gain access to leaders in your industry that can help you to scale your business, develop a deep and loyal relationship with your ideal clients, share your message with the world with just a push of a button, and attract quality leads into your business. Devi Aday created the podcast On Purpose Online Academy to help you go from show idea to syndicated podcast in as little as 6 short weeks. Devi's podcast On Purpose Online Academy walks you through every step of the process, from choosing your title, format, and artwork, all the way through to syndication on all major podcasting platforms. If you are looking to create your own global delivery system for your most important messaging with your most loyal listeners and potential clients, podcasting is for you. To learn more about how you can create your own syndicated podcast around your brand and message, visit podcastonpurpose.com. It is your time to podcast on purpose.
Hi, this is Debbie Adea, and I would love to support you with your soul-based business and helping you get your message out into the world. If you'd like to work with me, I'd love to work with you. Go ahead and contact me at debbieadea.com. You can find me there. Or if you're interested in creating a podcast specifically, go to podcastonpurpose.com. And as always, I would love to share my week with you at spiritualentrepreneur.com. It's your time to podcast on purpose.
Do you feel like you are overpaying for your insurance? Not sure if your coverages will protect you in the event of an accident? Mason Mackey with Pacific Northwest Insurance helps families like yours find the right insurance coverage at the best possible price. Mason has helped hundreds save money on their insurance needs while offering a superior level of service.
Hi, this is Mason with Pacific Northwest Insurance. To learn more about my practice, call me at 425-828-7877 or reach me online at pnorthwest.com. Again, that's 425-828-7877 or online at pnorthwest.com.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to The Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here on 1150 AM, KKNW, the Saturday, December 2nd show. I provide you news on everything money, fresh information and market trends in our conditions in our local economy. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast, but you can call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150, or go online at themoneyhour.com. And my next guest in studio, Leslie McFadden with Real Living Northwest Realtors. Don't miss the critical points when selling your house. And first time having you in studio, Leslie.
Yes,
thank you so much for joining me. Yeah. And a little bit about Leslie. Leslie is an Austin, Texas native where she attended Texas State University and served as a logistics specialist in the U.S. Army based at Fort Hood. After her military service, she spent 9 years in corporate interior design and sales, fields where excelling in customer service is an absolute top priority. Leslie became a realtor in 2005. She has built her success on the principles she learned from her experiences, then grew in the foundation of servicing clients and referrals. Along with her husband, Kevin, she recently managed a real estate team of 5 in Columbus, Ohio, one of the fastest growing real estate markets in the Midwest. In 2016, so fortunate that Leslie and Kevin made their decision to expand their business by entering the greater Seattle market. By recruiting a partner to handle their Ohio client base, they have been able to capitalize in both geographics. Today, they live in Bothell and truly enjoying the North Shore communities to the fullest. And again, I'm just excited to have you here, Leslie, and it's really exciting to see everything behind the scenes that you've been able to do here in your local market, just only being here for a short period of time. And it just really is a testament of when you're successful, and you bring your expertise and your service in any market that you're in. So, and I'm excited to talk about sellers and what's happening in really maximizing your opportunity as a seller. So, Leslie, how important is it to a seller to strategize in the market? And I know a lot of sellers feel that maybe I can just stick up a sign and not hire a real estate expert. What would be your answer to that?
Well, absolutely. I think anything in your life that affects your investments needs a strategic plan. There are still a few individuals out there that think that maybe a realtor is not necessary, but most have realized that we're worth every penny. I personally am in the trenches of this volatile market every single day, and the advice that I give people absolutely reflects that.
And when you take a new listing, Leslie, how do you determine the best way to actually market that property?
Well, the first thing I do is I like to dive in and just see what that immediate neighborhood is doing. We have so many tools as realtors that we can do so much research and really kind of get a good grasp on what that market is doing and what it's providing as far as comps and pricing and things. But the other thing that I like to do is I like to try to guess who would actually buy that house and how they would like to be marketed to. I think that is key in marketing that product correctly.
And that is really interesting, and then that's why it's so important not only to have an expert on or have a real estate professional on your side, but have an expert real estate professional on your side. Because I've actually never heard somebody say that before, which makes total sense. Is you really need to go out and you need to figure out what buyers are going to be buying this particular property in this area. So if you're selling a horse farm, you want to go find those buyers and cater to that person there. But
and that buyer also likes to be marketed to differently.
Yeah, so makes total sense. That makes total sense. So Leslie, what different levels of strategy do you pay attention to when you're pricing a property?
So preliminarily, there's about 3. So obviously the first one is pricing strategy. You'll see in the market, if you've been shopping for a house long, that some people underprice on purpose to make people bid it up, just to make sure that buyer is telling that seller how much that they think that house is worth.
Okay.
Some other markets say that you should just list it at list price, and what that market is determining the fair market value. And then in other markets, there's some frame of thought that maybe you should overprice it. And I think a lot of sellers are making that mistake in the wrong markets, because they're not greedy, but they feel like we're in this strong seller's market and that they could get away with it. And then they end up sitting on the market, which is what Rosemary was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
So that's my first strategy. The second one would be, how do I merchandise this product? So I know that this is someone's home that they're living in, and there's a huge difference between selling your home and living in your home. So I look at it as a product, and how do I maximize my client's investment? So merchandising is key. So kind of what I was talking about earlier, trying to determine who's buying that house and how do I find that person, goes into merchandising and staging, obviously. And then the last one is kind of just reaching our audience. Kevin and I have spent a lot of time brainstorming on different unique ways to get to people using social media, video, things like that. So those are the 3 strategies that I kind of start off with.
And I know the pricing can be really confusing for somebody that doesn't understand and putting together, like you said, that strategy, and why it's so important, because it's not always going to be the same. It depends on what's happening in the market, and really having that expertise again behind you to do that. So Leslie, why is it so important with who's going to be buying the house?
Well, and like I kind of mentioned before, by determining the demographic that's going to buy your house, you can market to them effectively. And then in turn, that gets that person to buy your house for the most money and maximize your investment.
Because you're getting multiple offers for people. You're grabbing all those people that are going to be most
The more people you can put in that pool, the
yes.
better.
Yeah.
And, I don't really believe in playing buyers against each other. I think that you should compliment someone for wanting to pay over list price on your house. But at the same time, that's why a buyer's agent is so important, because they are currently, every day they are actively trying to figure out what tactic they can use when presenting their buyer's offer. Like, I've had people present offers in person.
Yes.
I've had people, have these escalation clauses that are just very intricate in how they work and how you can use them, and how that buyer can, tell you as a seller how much money they would like to pay for your house, but they want you to prove that you have another buyer. So there's all sorts of different tactics floating around there. So it's just crucial to have a good realtor that can field through that.
It is, and I love seeing you guys because I only work with the best of the best. That's who is here in the studio right now. But I love to see you guys. Well, you guys know it. I mean, your numbers and show that. But I'd love to see you guys just change your hats. I mean, because it's a completely different hat you're going to wear when you represent a seller versus representing a buyer, and so much strategy. Complete opposite and different strategies on both sides. So it's really fun to watch and be behind the scenes on that for me as a mortgage professional. So Leslie, go into a little bit more about staging and the importance of staging or not.
Well, I think that it definitely is something that every listing needs to pay attention to, because it's a merchandising of your product. Do I think that there are some markets that maybe don't need it? It depends on what that neighborhood's been telling you.
Okay.
For instance, this last spring, when I jumped into the market, it was kind of crazy. But I still think that there are some vacant houses out there that they could have probably gotten more if they were staged. But you always run into sellers who maybe don't have that money to spend up front, or so there is some frame of thought to leaving it vacant with just really nice finishes. But I do think that if you're going to stage, you're definitely going to get that money back if you have the money to invest. So my short answer would be yes. If you're selling, you should probably have a good reason to to not stage.
Well, it's like anything else when you're sitting down and really putting a plan together for your seller, you've got to take into consideration the resources that they have or they don't have.
Oh, absolutely.
So that makes total sense. So Leslie, what is your opinion on having a review date for offers? And explain a little bit to my sellers what a review date is.
So this market, we're seeing some people say that sellers are going to review offers upon receipt, or the seller will review all offers on a certain date. So that's what a review date is.
Okay.
Initially, as a buyer, that kind of irritates you because you're like, oh, so you're just waiting to compile all of these different offers. But I really do think that it helps both parties feel organized about the whole thing. And I think a lot of times with the seller reviewing offers upon receipt, buyers feel a little rushed. So to have that time for them to get their ducks in a row and really present your seller with a strong offer, have time to talk to the other agent, call me, and try to really feel like they understand how they need to structure that offer,
yes,
I think is very helpful. So my answer would be it definitely helps the seller feel a little bit more organized and calm so that they can really review all of the offers and make the best decision.
Makes sense. So how do you handle presenting the multiple offers to your seller? Because I can imagine that could be a little bit overwhelming for them.
It is. And I try to take it all on so that they don't really feel that pressure, so that they can just show up the time that I ask them to. They walk in and I have all of the offers printed out. I also do a cheat sheet for the top because a seller doesn't want to go through all the pages and pages. I mean, a contract can be 23, 25 pages long, depending on what addendum, even in this kind of market. But so I do a cheat sheet on top. And so I just basically say, this is the offer price. Do they need to sell a home or not? Depending on what price point. When you're over $1 million, that's not uncommon.
Okay.
Are they using a bridge loan? Are they doing a standard conventional loan? So they can look at one page instead of 25.
Yes.
And so I just number them and I kind of put them in order of priority.
Okay.
In my opinion, because the first thing your seller is going to ask you is, which one do you think I should take?
Yes.
But it's not my decision. So not only is it about price, but it's about terms and when they close and do they want to rent back? There's all sorts of different things.
Yeah.
So I just try to organize it in piles with a cheat sheet.
Makes sense. So Leslie, what do you feel is the right and the wrong way to handle those multiple offer situations?
Well, I feel like what I just said is the right way
Yes.
because your goal
so
is...
what's the biggest mistake for somebody
well,
in
I
handling
think that
those?
there's a lot of realtors out there and it's really easy to become a realtor, but it's, in my opinion, very difficult to stay in real estate because with markets that get this volatile, people are pickier.
Yes.
So if you're in the trenches every single day and you're learning and you're in class and you are actively advocating for your client, then you have some good advice to give. But there are definitely agents out there that for instance, I was on a buyer side and you could tell the listing agent didn't really know how to handle a multiple offer situation and basically advised his client to ignore my escalation clause because he didn't understand it.
Wow.
So,
oh my gosh.
So I think that's why people have started presenting their offers in person.
Yeah.
Which, I think that gets a little messy when you have a seller and you have all these, buyer's agents coming and presenting offers. But I will allow them to present it to me personally so that realtor feels like they've done what they're supposed to do and that I understand their terms. And because we're going to have to co-op together. We're all going to closing together. We all need to be there. And we both want our clients to have a good experience. So.
Yeah, and that's another reason to have an expert agent that does a lot of business in the local market because they know that it's a team effort. So that has a play in it as well. You definitely don't want to have an agent that has a bad reputation out there because that's going to be mentioned as not as a negative side of that offer. So there's a lot of players in this. So Leslie, do you have any advice for one of my sellers listening right now to help them know how to choose the correct offer? For some reason, they're tied down in this agreement with an agent and they're not really feeling good at the point and it hasn't expired yet and they just want, a good tip. What would that be?
Well, it kind of piggybacks on what I already said, but just pay attention to all of the terms, not just the price. Like I said, buyer's agents are using all sorts of different tactics when presenting offers. And you need to take the time to understand all of the terms.
Yes. So last question as we're wrapping it up here in less than a minute. Your main goal when you're working for your seller?
I kind of have a motto. It's keep your eyes on the prize.
I love that.
Even though you may need to take some investments in preparing for the market, with really good solid advice, you're going to make more in the long run.
Yeah, love it. Leslie, thank you so much. First time having you here. It was such a pleasure, and I can't wait to have you share your...
I'll be back.
Well, I was going to say, I can't wait to have you share your wealth of information with my listeners again. Thank you so much, Leslie. And coming up next in the Money Hour, Mason Mackey with Pacific Northwest Insurance, the benefits of having an independent insurance agent right here at 1150 AM KKNW after this short break.
Do you feel like you are overpaying for your insurance? Not sure if your coverages will protect you in the event of an accident? Mason Mackey with Pacific Northwest Insurance helps families like yours find the right insurance coverage at the best possible price. Mason has helped hundreds save money on their insurance needs while offering a superior level of service.
Hi, this is Mason with Pacific Northwest Insurance. To learn more about my practice, call me at 425-828-7877 or reach me online at pnorthwest.com. Again, that's 425-828-7877 or online at pnorthwest.com.
You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage and finance expert, Tina Mitchell.
Welcome back to the Money Hour with your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, right here at 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, December 2nd show. Bringing in expert advice and inside knowledge on today's events and our local economy and how it will affect your money. If you're hearing my show at a different time or day, you are listening to a rebroadcast. You can call the show at 1-855-400-1150. Again, that's 1-855-400-1150 or online at themoneyhour.com. Right now in studio, I have Mason Mackey with Pacific Northwest Insurance, and we're going to be discussing the benefits of having an independent insurance agent. Mason, thank you so much for joining me in studio. First time for you as well.
Thanks for having me, Tina. Great to be here.
And a little bit about Mason. Mason was born and raised in Phoenix, Arizona, and moved into the Seattle area about 3 years ago. The opportunity in Seattle is what drew him to the city, as well as trying to escape the 100-plus degree weather. I get that. Mason has been in the insurance industry for nearly 5 years, assisting people from all walks of life. He specializes in helping his clients identify their insurance needs and provide them with the right coverage to best fit their situation. Mason believes that honest, transparent communication is the key to providing his clients the smooth possible experience. He has a passion for helping people and strives to be most useful in everything when it comes to insurance. So Mason, I'm excited to break it down on independent agent, what that means, the importance of homeowners insurance. And so let's start out with explaining to my listeners, what is an independent agent?
Sure, that's a great question, Tina. So an independent insurance agent typically represents a number of companies, so not just one company when it comes to a direct writer with a lot of companies that you might see on TV or anything in advertisements. And so the benefit of kind of having that is there's a number of different markets that I can represent to maybe help people find their best fit, or obviously price is important as well to kind of locate the best fit for their situation and whatever that is. So being an independent agent's been great. I love the opportunity and kind of ability to work with a number of different carriers.
Yeah, that sounds like a huge benefit to be able to really shop around for the tailored plan that's going to work best for what your client's need is. Now, I talked a little bit about your background coming from hot Arizona here to the Seattle market, but what else? A little bit more about your background, Mason.
Sure. So I grew up in Phoenix. I've been in the insurance industry typically my whole life. My dad is in the insurance business as well, and so I've learned from a young age just all the different lingo and everything that comes with insurance, and so naturally I've kind of navigated to this line of work, and so I was with a direct writing company prior to this, and just really saw the opportunity with representing those multiple different companies, and so it's really been great kind of going forward for my career, and to just really best help people in any way that I can when it comes to their insurance.
That's great. So let's talk about the factors that form an insurance premium for an individual.
Right, and that's a great question as well. Many people might not honestly know that. And so when it comes to kind of forming an insurance premium for someone, there's a number of different factors that go into it, whether it's their zip code of where they live, their credit score is a big factor in the last number of years to help with premiums, as well as driving histories, important tickets, accidents, claims on their home, anything like that goes into it, as well as the length of their prior insurance that they've had. And so there's kind of a whole different aspect that goes into an insurance premium. But a lot of those good credit, clean record, no claims, that really helps drive the cost down for people looking for a good price on their insurance.
Mason, what about the claim from the house that they're buying? If that owner had claimed on that house, does that affect a new buyer that comes in as well?
That does not. So typically a claim follows the person. So whether it happened prior, at somewhere they were renting, a claim happened, that would unfortunately follow them to their new home that they're buying. But no, it does not affect someone's house that they might be purchasing from the previous owner.
And just so you know, in the mortgage arena, I mean, a lot of times your credit score is just where it needs to be to get that perfect interest rate. And when you're going to shop for homeowners insurance, you do a soft pull, correct, Mason?
Absolutely.
So it doesn't affect your credit score at all. So I thought I would chime that in. So Mason, what causes insurance rates to go up for certain companies?
Well, that's a great question as well, Tina. I've
got some awesome questions that I come up with.
You really do. I appreciate that. And so some people kind of wonder a lot of times why, after a few years with this company or something, I haven't had any tickets, no claims. What's the reason that my cost is going up for my insurance? And the reason for that being that we've seen a lot of companies in the last number of years have been on the rise as far as kind of the amount that they're paying out versus the amount that they're taking in. And so obviously when those factors start to not offset each other anymore, then companies do unfortunately take rate increases. And so cost of medical, cost of repairs for vehicles, homes has really been on the rise in the 2000s. And so we've seen a lot of companies that have lost billions of dollars, honestly, to their then unfortunately kind of stuck in that situation where they have to raise the cost of their insurance. And so kind of tying back to the independent side, maybe a company, something like that might happen. Well, we've got a number of different options to then, look to maybe help lower that cost with a different company that we offer. Makes
sense. And, understanding the why behind, I mean, that makes total sense. Understand if I had an insurance increase and there wasn't something better out there at another insurance carrier, the fact that the cost have gone up, obviously that has to be passed on to the consumer. Otherwise, we would have no insurance companies being able to stay in business to insure us. So
Absolutely.
The why makes a lot of sense. What about needing more insurance? Do you have clients that really should be having more insurance than what they have?
You bet. And a great product for that is an umbrella. A lot of people, homeowners, I always offer that to any homeowner that I see buying a home. And it kind of essentially gives you some extra liability coverage in increments of $1 million. And so anybody that owns a home might have some equity or some assets that they really need to protect their family if they were to get in a bad accident or someone injured on their property or anything like that wanted to come after them. The umbrella would help step in with lawsuit costs or anything like that,
Sure.
Subrogation, anything like that. So it's a great product that we offer. It's honestly $10 to $20 a month for another $1 million of liability coverage, and I always try to recommend that to anybody,
That would be
especially
crazy
homeowner.
that someone would not have that extra coverage for $10 to $20 a month.
Absolutely.
That's crazy.
You bet.
So, Mason, how often do you advise your clients to call you up and kind of get a review of what's happening with their current policy?
Sure. I at least every couple years is a great opportunity. I mean, life changes along the way and families and kids and all sorts of things. So I always recommend at least every couple years to kind of go over insurance needs, maybe assets, things have increased. You just never know. Businesses might have started a venture or something like that. And so it's a great opportunity to just kind of review that, make sure that the customers has some peace of mind knowing that every couple years their insurance is well taken care of.
Makes sense. So at least a couple years, and on those life changes. If you're getting married, you're having a baby, or any of those things are happening, is probably a good indicator to pick up the phone and call your independent insurance agent and make sure you're still with the right company and you've got the best coverage.
Sure.
Makes total sense. So, Mason, what types of business insurance are there?
Well, there's all types, anywhere from, so that's another great opportunity, as well as for an independent agent, is we represent the personal side of insurance as well as the business side. So if anyone has even a small business to, an office building with some personal property inside for desks, computers, anything, we have a business owner's package that kind of helps package all that together, all the way to skyscrapers or anything in between, and so that's as well as a home-based business too. There's a lot of companies that we offer where you can endorse kind of a on your home policy an attachment to it, to where you can insure your home-based business all as part of your homeowner's policy. So the business side is we offer that as well, from a wide range of anything for business owners out there.
Yeah, and my next guest, you and Dennis are going to have to pass business cards, because as being doing taxes for accounting for businesses and insurance, just saying, there's a lot of networking that happens behind the scenes in a studio right here. Yes. So Mason, what separates you from the rest of the industry? I know that's why you're here in studio, because I only bring the best of the best, but share with my listeners, why are you so unique?
Sure. So, you can always pick up the phone and call a 1-800 number that you see on TV or advertisements or anything. And so I kind of bring that next level of service that really kind of custom tailor insurance needs to people's situation and circumstances in life. And so that's kind of one thing I've learned from a young age, is just service, friendliness. That whole to just always kind of take care of the customer, number one, and then the rest has taken care of itself from there, and as well as efficiency too. Being efficient, we just talked about the real estate market and how go it can be, and so the last thing you want to be worried about is insurance and how you're going to get that sorted out, or have to call and be on hold or something like that. And so that's kind of where I can provide that next level of service.
And, I'm sure a lot of my listeners, they may be thinking that it would be really difficult to change insurance companies. And I have to say, speaking from experience, because as you know, Mason, we do a lot of business together. My clients come in and they're getting a mortgage, and they all have insurance. Even if they're first-time home buyers, they're insuring their car, or they have renter's insurance. And I always tell them, you've got to just get your information over to Mason, let them do a complimentary quote for you, so you have something to compare with your current insurance carrier to make sure you've got the best coverage possible. And even though they've been with these insurance companies for a year, they're changing over and working with you. So, and they're right in the middle of a closing, meaning we're getting ready to close in less than 30 days. And so there's that sense of urgency as well, which typically people will go with the easiest route when they feel pressure of time. But, so it must be pretty darn easy to change insurance companies, right?
Absolutely. And like I said before, just that efficiency aspect that I bring to the table to really kind of help people make this as seamless of a process as possible. I know that some people might get stressed or worried about the thought or idea of kind of switching insurance, but that's where I come in to just make it as easy as possible. And obviously that's kind of why I have a job today, right? Is that, I provide that kind of, middleman to the company to just make this as easy of a process for people.
Yeah, and I have to say, Mason, just recently, one of my clients, and I've never seen this, I've been doing mortgages for over 2 decades, and I don't know that I've ever seen a binder come back that was insuring for less than the replacement value of the property based on what the appraisal said that would be. And so we called in a crisis. For whatever reason, they decided to stick with their original insurance company and not move over to yours, which is unusual because majority do. But then we had to get that last minute, and your insurance company was willing to insure it for replacement value. So can you talk about that? And is that becoming more common now with the fact that people are paying more than the appraised value is, or what's happening there?
Sure. So, as far as, people are kind of paying over asking price a lot for homes and things like that. And so loan amounts, can be higher than what they were expecting as far as the cost of the home. And so really from the insurance standpoint is where we look at the value of the home itself. So what would it take if this were to burn down? How much would it cost the insurance company to replace this for full value? And so, as well as a lot of policies that we have extensions over top of the coverage amount that you might have. So in the event something was to burn to the ground, there was nothing left, there's kind of some added coverage in there as well, 25 to 50% over the value that we have it insured, to just make sure that the client can fully rebuild their house, in the event of a total loss.
And that's another another important thing in working with an independent insurance agent, because the idea that two companies had totally two different ideas of replacement value and their company would not insure for true replacement value. I mean, that was a big deal. So thanks for coming in and saving on that, Mason. So if I have somebody listening right now and they need to immediately get their insurance, let's say that they've got an issue just like I explained, because I'm sure that's happening, and they want to immediately change insurance companies, what do they do?
Call me. It's as simple as that. And so if
How
someone...
do they reach you, Mason?
Sure. So if someone just gave me a call, 425-828-7877, you can reach me on email as well, mason@pnorthwest.com, and I will be on the ball and assure you that I will take care of the customer's needs first and foremost, and so that they don't have to worry about those crisis situations.
And also, you can call the show at 1-855-400-1150 or go online to themoneyhour.com, and I'll definitely connect you with Mason. And Mason, thank you so much for coming in. First time in studio. I'm excited to have you back, and I want to extend a great thanks again for all of the hand-holding and the special attention that you give to my own personal clients.
Absolutely,
really appreciate
Tina.
you.
It's an honor and a privilege. Thanks for having me.
This is your host and mortgage expert, Tina Mitchell, signing off for the day. Enjoy your Saturday and the rest of your weekend. I look forward to talking more money with you next Saturday right here on 1150 AM KKNW.
Tina Mitchell, MLO 145420, is a licensed loan originator with Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC. The views expressed by the speakers on the preceding program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC, nor are they necessarily endorsed by Gateway Mortgage Group, LLC.